I smelled a lot of animal waste, I'll have to say, which, if you can keep that from the food section, that's a good thing, because nothing kills the appetite like the smell of cow manure or horse manure or whatever, or swine. Those were particularly bad. So there were those smells, but there were also, anything you can fry basically got fried. And that's a fair tradition that holds true today. I wouldn't be surprised if there were not dish towels that were deep fried over slow days at the fair sometimes.
So when I was really little, we would eat, like the Rabbit Barn had their own booth where they would sell food and raise money for the Rabbit Project. The Show Barn had a booth for a long time, and all that money would go to 4-H. And then there was, I think the Dairy Project also had a booth like that. So we would eat at those booths a lot. One, because they were cheaper, and we were there so much. My parents were like, we're not going to spend, like, midway meal money, like, every time. But every once in a while, we'd go to one of the other vendors. But when I got older and I could, like, be by myself at the fair, my mom didn't have to keep an eye on me. She would just give me, like, $20 in the morning, and that would be, like, my money for the day to eat with. So I would actually find... like run a little bit of a scam, and I would eat at the Show Barn every day because it was so cheap, and then I just had the rest of that money, and I would spend it on dumb stuff in like the expo building, like at, like the makeup booths or like the fudge or something. But yeah, so that eventually turned into like, all right, here's your money for the day, make sure you eat enough, but like I have all this other stuff to do, so like so that way she didn't feel like she had to keep an eye on me the whole time. And that was when I was in like high school, and I was with my friends. We would just walk around all day. But yeah, totally. Yeah.
Well, my one daughter, one year, she missed one of her classes during I forget whether it was the pig show or the beef show. I think it was the beef show. But it wasn't a real major class, and it's not coming right now what it was. But we couldn't find her. And we finally found her. She was at the Rural Youth tent eating. And my husband got pretty mad at her. So the next day she thought, I'll show him, and she won junior showmanship.
My folks were in Rural Youth, and that was an organization, a young people's organization, and they had a Rural Youth tent, and they made, chicken and noodles, I think, were their favorite, famous for, really. And it was a moneymaker for them, and then they would do fun things all together. And I'm pretty sure that's where my mom and dad met then, was in that organization.
Or you could get a meal. Or you could get I remember you could get a hot dog for a quarter. A bunch of ladies were back there making it. And then right next to them was High's Chicken Barbecue. And they were like Nelson's, but they were good. That's the first place my mom and dad would go. We're going to High's Chicken, eat supper. I'm going to no, you're coming with us. Oh, yeah. Well, that was kind of fun. Yeah. They were the two big eating places. And Kentucky Fried Chicken even had a booth out there next to the Washington Township cheerleaders dunk tank. They had dunk tank. The chicken guy loved it because we were all sitting there eating chicken watching the girls get dunked.
Every year, I'm delighted to have my first corn dog at the fair. I love the corn dog. I love some of the ethnic foods. Leroy's. You can't go wrong with Leroy's and a taco. You can't go wrong with the Puerto Rican. I'm still missing Berkey's pork patty wagon. There was nothing quite as excellent as a Berkey's pork patty right off the grill. I've purchased their products at their store in the past, and it's never as good as it is at the fair. Dr. Vegetable's onion rings are epically wonderful. If you get a Berkey's pork patty and you go to Dr. Vegetable and you get 3 onion rings and you put the onion rings on top of the pork patty, that is about as good a sandwich as you're ever going to have in your life.
I try to eat an elephant ear like once a year or so, enough to remind me that, wow, that's a lot of sugar. And it's a mess to eat, and all that butter. You got to make sure that you can hold it at arm's length and have a lot of napkins to be able to not get it all over you. Not that I think I should walk around the fair wearing a bib.
One year, I was teaching in the second session of summer school at Valparaiso University, and I had an interesting photography class. A third of them were local kids that did not go to Valpo. A third of them were Valpo degree-seeking students that needed my class for their major, and the other third were a group of foreign students that just arrived from the Middle East, and they needed 3 credits to get themselves through that first matriculation into the university. It was Ramadan, which means that you can't eat if you're practicing Muslim during daylight. Well, it's July, so there's a lot of daylight here. I told the kids, you will go to the fair weekdays when we're supposed to be in class. You're going to go to the fair with me. And I took them to the fair for 5 straight days. And I didn't make them go on the weekends, but for 5 straight days they went to the fair. And every day I'd give them a scavenger hunt. And I'd say, I don't want you talking to each other. You know each other. I want you talking to people that you don't know. Yeah. And so they met 4-H kids. They met 4-H parents. They went to the shows. They loved the carnival. They made their way through the fair. And the way I divided up the class was, I had them in groups of 3, and they could wander and do what they wanted at some point. Just go figure it out, you know? And I made them keep a journal. And the journal, it's not for me to keep track of them. The journal was for them to keep track of what they were doing and what they were observing as a note-keeping device to support the photographs that they had been making.
Yeah.
And so that being said, one of the young men, I'm reading through his journal, and this is actually really funny. It was Ramadan, right? No eating. And he writes in there that he's asking for forgiveness because he broke fast for Ramadan, but it was worth it. And the funnel cake that he had was the best thing he's ever had in his life. And I thought to myself, okay, I'm either a really, really, really bad theological example here, or I have just opened up the ultimate joy to this young man.